Hello everyone! I hope you all had an excellent weekend, and here is a game from round 5 of the 2018 Altibox Norway Championship that will surely improve your Sunday. It's a game between Fabiano Caruana and Sergey Karjakin, and it's, quite a game. It's a game between two challengers, Sergey Karjakin being the 2016 World Chess Championship challenger and Fabiano Caruana being the 2018 World Chess Championship challenger. And I was extremely happy that, like all of you knew who the person in the photo was in my last video. It was, of course, Boris Gelfand. So I'm extending this game, and let's check out another photo. Also a person you know, so let's see it. I hope it rings a bell, as it's a photo from when this person was really young. So here it is. I don't think you have to look at him for too long to realize who it is, but I thought it was a nice photo to show for this game. And we do have one or two photos from this game. So here it is, a nice photo of Fabiano Caruana. There's Karjakin on the right, firmly gripping his king, and an unidentified woman in the background. If anyone knows who this is, do share in the comments. And we also have one more photo, but we're gonna keep that one for after we check out the game. So let's see it. It's round 5, Caruana versus Karjakin. And we do have the standings after this game. The standings aren't really, to the point, as some players have played only 4 games, some players have played 5 games. Since Ding Liren left the tournament, it's quite a blow to the 2018 Norway Altibox tournament. So let's see it. C4, knight to f6, knight to c3, and e5. So we have the English opening, 2 knights variation. Knight to f3, knight c6, e3, bishop to b4, queen c2, bishop captures, queen captures, and queen to e7. So black gives up the bishop pair early on in the game, but he will have enough compensation. b3, we have castles, bishop to b2, rook e8, and a3 now. a5, a very nice move, preventing white from expanding further on the queen side, and also some rook lifting ideas in the future may be possible. We have h3, b6 now, bishop to e2, bishop to b7, and castles. d5 by Karjakin, pawn captures, knight captures on d5, attacking the queen, queen to c2, and e4 now, attacking the knight on f3. Knight to h2, and now comes queen to g5. So already you can see black is extremely active, but not all is as it seems, as it often is in chess. Caruana plays f4, and f4 is one of those moves where you're not very glad white played this, and white has a very nice pawn chain here. g4 will be definitely a possibility, and it's one of those moments where you definitely don't want to play e captures on f3, but you know that you are going to play it. And simply moving the queen is the best idea for black here, but it's when you're playing a game, it's impossible not to capture this, as you do have a light square bishop on b7. You do want to activate it. Karjakin does play e captures on f3 en passant. So we have knight captures on f3, attacking the queen, and queen to g3 now. And like I said, it's quite a poisonous position. Black is very active here. There are some sneaky ideas here lurking in the background. The bishop is now very active on b7 when these knights move, and rook to f2, a very nice defensive move by Caruana. And to really see the power behind rook to f2, let's check out what happens if white plays a slow move, such as rook c1, bringing a rook into the game, placing it on an open line. But let's see why is this losing, and why was rook to f2 such an important move for Fabiano. Do pause the video here, and I will give it a couple of seconds as usual for you to decide whether you want to do it. It's Sunday. I know some of you might be lazy, but it's a very nice idea. You're gonna be very happy if you find it. So you are Fabi here defeat Sergey Karjakin in this variation that never happened. So for those of you who found it, congratulations. Once again, you really know how to enjoy your Sundays. If you found rook captures on e3, it's a very nice idea, but it's not the best idea. Rook captures on e3 is very nice because if pawn captures, then knight captures on e3, does come with an attack on the queen, and also there is the threat of checkmate. The problem with this variation, and it's such a stupid move that I really have to show this to you. The reason why this isn't completely winning is because white has bishop to a6. Such a silly variation, but the queen is now protecting from checkmate on g2, and black really, I mean, what do you do here? Of course you're going to capture the queen. After knight captures, simply bishop captures on b7, attacking the rook that is undefended, the knight is undefended, this knight is undefended, and after black plays knight to e3, threatens checkmate once again and attacks the rook on f1, simply rook to f2. Again, your rook is under attack and the knight. After we move the rook, rook d8, bishop captures on c6, and white has plenty of compensation for the queen. So, although rook captures on e3 in this position is a very nice idea, it's not a winning idea. The winning move is actually knight to f4. And from knight to f4, there really is no defense against queen captures on g2. Whatever you play is losing. If you capture it, then comes rook captures. Of course, there is no way to prevent queen captures on g2. Rook f2 doesn't work. You simply capture with the queen, and you know, there is really nothing for white to do here. It's all over. So in this position, rook f2, a very important idea by Fabi. We have rook to d8, bishop to c4, and now knight to f6. As you see, the bishop and the rook are eyeing that f7 pawn, so knight to f6, a very nice idea by Karjakin. Bishop captures on f6, g captures on f6, and now doubling up rooks on the f file. We have rook to d6, defending the f6 pawn. We have b4, pawn captures, and now comes rook to e7. Why doesn't knight captures on b4 work? Well, if knight captures, then you have this bishop captures on f7. And if bishop captures on f7, this comes with an attack on the rook, king captures, and now unfortunately not the romantic queen captures on h7, but rather queen captures on c7. Attacking the bishop, attacking the rook. If the rook moves, the queen is attacked. It's all over for black here. Once you defend this, rook e7, then comes knight to g5 check, opening up an attack with doubled rooks towards the f6 pawn. You force black to capture the knight, and after queen captures on d6. And yes, black does have 2 pieces for the rook, but it doesn't do him all that much. The knight is under attack on b4 after you move the knight. Then comes rook to f5, attacking the queen and the knight, and after queen moves, then you simply grab 2 pieces for the rook, and you know, you are up a pawn, but the position is so much better for white, you don't even care about any pawns. So yeah, after a captures on b4, rook to e7. Immediately, Karjakin guards that f7 pawn. We have b5, attacking the knight, knight e5, and now knight to d4. Bishop to c8, with some sneaky ideas of bishop capturing on h3. King to h1, not allowing it. King to g7, defending the f6 pawn, and now bishop to e2. King to h8. A very nice idea by Karjakin once again. Now if rook captures on f6, then bishop captures on h3 will be deadly. What do you do here? Queen captures is a threat of checkmate. Rook will have to block this, but then comes rook to h6, threatening all sorts of discoveries. And after king g1, bishop to d7. Now again, queen h2. Checkmate is a threat, and white will be in huge trouble here. So after king to h8, we have queen to c3. Now Fabi aligns the queen with the king on h8, and again, it's not all that easy to find a move here for black. King to g7, returning the king to defend the f6 pawn. Bishop to d1, we have king back to g8, and now bishop to c2. Queen to h4, rook to f4 now, attacking the queen, queen to g3, and bishop to f5 now. Fabi wants to exchange well, not the only, but one of the strongest pieces Karjakin has, and that gives him all this counterplay with all of these threats of capturing on h3. So bishop to b7, now there is a different threat. Now queen captures on h3 will be a terrible threat. Of course, queen g2 checkmate is still a threat, but even if that is defended, then queen to h3 will also be an idea. So bishop to e4, again Fabi wants to exchange this strong bishop. Bishop back to c8, and now queen to a3. Fabi doesn't want to repeat moves, and you know, perhaps draw the game by threefold repetition, but it's always nice to repeat a couple of times if you want to reach time control faster. King back to g7, and now queen to a8, attacking the strong bishop on c8. Bishop captures on h3 now. This is one of those positions where you don't really have a good move, but it's very hard to find a useful move. Here, simply moving the bishop would be the best thing to do for black, and then Fabi would finally be able to exchange this, and then black will be left with pretty much no counterplay. So instead, Karjakin, goes down swinging. He plays bishop captures on h3. We have g captures on h3, queen captures on h3, king to g1, and now rook captures on d4. This was Karjakin's idea. And what's the idea behind rook captures on d4? If e captures on d4, then queen g3 check. Bishop blocks, and now knight to g4, threatening queen to h2 checkmate. After rook captures, queen captures, white will be up a piece, but with all this activity, perhaps black can hold this to a draw. This was Karjakin's idea. The problem is, after this move, rook captures on d4, he missed one very important idea. After Fabi played this, it's all over. So another very nice position for you to analyze. Feel free to pause the video here and find the move that wins Fabi the game. I will give it a couple of seconds as usual. So for those of you who found it, congratulations, you are an excellent maneuver of bishops. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, here Fabi played bishop to g2. Once you see it, it all makes sense. Now the queen is attacked, and instead of capturing with the pawn, now rook is also attacking the rook. There is no useful move here for black. You do have to move the queen. Your queen is under attack. In the game, queen to g3 was played, but now comes rook captures on d4. And now there is really no counterplay here. Knight to g4 was played, but now rook captures on g4 isn't necessary. Fabi simply played rook to f3, and after queen to e1 check, bishop to f1 was played, and now this is move 41. Time control has been reached. No player is in time trouble, but it was in this position that Sergey Karjakin, the 2016 World Chess Championship challenger, resigned the game. There's really no point in continuing this. He is down a whole rook, and it would be pointless to even consider continuing playing this game. So yeah, a very nice game by Fabiano, and a first win for him in this tournament, and a very important one, as he already lost his game against Magnus Carlsen, so this brings him back to 50%. We do have a photo of this moment after Karjakin resigned. Fabi is all like, yeah, I just come here, I play some games, I win games, no big deal. That's just how I roll. And we do have the photo of the, well, not the photo, we do have the final standings after round 5. Yeah, not the final standings, but the standings after round 5. So it's not really nicely done, as some players have played 5 games, some players have played 4, like Fabiano and Wesley So, since Ding Liren left, but it will give you a general idea about the standings. So Carlsen in first place with 3.5 out of 5, completely destroying the field, 2 wins, 0 losses, 3 draws. Then Hikaru Nakamura, 0 wins, 0 losses, 5 draws, definitely taking it easy, it would seem, but not really. His games were really interesting. Karjakin 2.5 out of 5, Aronian as well 2.5 out of 5, Vishwanathan Anand 2.5 out of 5. Another one with 0 losses, 0 wins, and 5 draws. Then comes Fabiano, who is now back to 50%, 2 out of 4. Then Mamedjarov, 2 out of 5. Wesley So, 2 out of 4. Maxim Bashir, 2 out of 5. And Ding Liren, who unfortunately had to leave the tournament. No longer important to the standings. So yeah, that's the game. I do hope you enjoyed it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon with probably another game from round 5 of the 2018 Altibox Norway Championship. So yeah, thank you all, and have a great rest of the Sunday.